why everyone hates tech now. You know, with the rise of AI, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And everything going on in the world, bruh. Why should you, like, how can you not be agreeing with everything that's going on right now? They call there was that one lady. She was like calling AI the new industrial revolution. I don't know what that bitch is talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what's going on, bro. Let's see what's going on with this video, man.
Do you remember the release of the iPhone? When Steve Jobs, he waltz out with the turtleneck looking like a messiah.
And
okay.
We're calling it iPhone.
And more importantly, do you remember how you felt? I do. I was probably like 12 years old and I remember seeing it.
Damn. When did this come out? It was like 2000. I was like probably like a few years old. Not that lot. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
And going, my God, we've done it.
Give me a sense of the energy inside
Or like 6 years old or some shit.
this store.
It's just overwhelming. Everybody here is just so excited and you can just feel it. Everybody is just so happy to get their phones.
That's okay, you remember that, right? Then jump forward to the release of AI. Do you remember that?
Yeah?
I don't, but what I do remember very vividly was the first time I heard someone from the company.
Ain't this the billionaire that had Molotovs thrown at his house or some shit, bro?
OpenAI, Sam Altman, talking about AI on the Joe Rogan Experience.
I think it's going to be a great thing, but I think it's not going to be all a great thing. And that is where I think that's where all of the complexity comes in for people. It's not this like clean story of we're going to do this and it's all going to be great. It's we're going to do this. It's going to be net great, but it's going to be like a technological revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution.
It feels now like the excitement around tech has all but disappeared. Like, I don't fucking know what iPhone we're on. I don't even really care what next generation console comes out. Who's using VR goggles apart from gooners? And it's not just
I have VR goggles, bruh. I'm not gonna lie, bruh. So I feel kind of disrespected right there. I have VR goggles, actually. Actually, they're right next to me. They're literally like sitting right here. Here, I'll show y'all. It's got the little headset, shit like that. I don't really use my VR unless it's like for like a YouTube video. I played Dread Halls and posted that on the gaming channel. But anyways, enough yapping.
just that people are getting bored of it. It's almost like people are turning against it.
The rise.
I'm not even against the idea of AI. It's just like it's good as a tool, but it's not good as a replacement. And what these people are trying to do is you're trying to use it to replace you. That's what they're trying to do.
Of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. Woo.
Get the f out,
Yeah! Stop him out! Stop him out! Yeah!
What happened to the techno-optimism? Where did it all go? Well, to answer this, there's a really important period in history that basically mirrors what's going on today that can teach us a lot about the current moment we are in. Okay, so we're going to teleport to sort of the 1700s, 1800s, right? And you're seeing this new wave of technology.
These are the machines that they use to like that were like cutting off people's like hands and shit, right?
Big, clunky machines, right? These are industrial machines. Before
cutting off
machines,
hands and
if you wanted
shit.
textiles, you would go to a local artisan. Now, the artisan, his name would be like Peter Putteridge, and he would work with his family-run business out of a cottage, singing songs, slapping their knees, just creating textiles for the love
Them nasty ass shoes running all over them fucking onions,
of the
nigga.
game. But you see, right, in amongst this lovely industry, there was another class of people, and that class was called the merchants. Oh, you alright, Peter? Mr. Artisan Peter, nice work. Oh, the missus looking pretty healthy at the moment. Yeah, I can do you a good deal on this, right? I'll get you your materials in. I'll get it for you cheap. You give me back your products, I'll sell it. Bob's your uncle. And for a while, this relationship worked, right? It was kind of balanced. But then the merchant started to think, well, maybe I don't fucking need Peter. He's a prick. And I kind of fancy his wife. And so the merchant started to create machines that could replace the artisan.
Mechanization began in the textile mills of England, where one machine attached to a spinning wheel could do the work of 50 people, and a new class of people emerged, workers.
That's the thing though, like the shit that we're experiencing now with like the job market and everything, bro. This is basically just we're just in a worse position than we were during that time. Like here in America, we just continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, bro. Is what I'm trying to say, bro. You know, from when you look at history, bro, like it just seems like we progress a little bit and then we fall back. We progress a little bit and then we fall back. We progress a little bit and then we fall back, and we don't really break through. You know what I mean?
Who
Like,
produced goods.
And this happened. The artisans in the textile trade, they were wiped out. So this opens a really important philosophical question for us as like a society, which is, where do we stand on that? You know, what is that? Is that theft? Well, it's this tension, this question that led to the creation of what were called the Luddites.
Away were weavers highly skilled till things were mechanized. Craft and artisanship killed, a threat to all our lives.
In 1811, a group came along that organised all of these artisans from different parts of the UK who joined forces under the name the Luddites. Firstly, they went to Parliament. They went and they said, hey guys, how about we strike a deal? Maybe we get a minimum wage. Maybe we put some rules, some regulations on these machines so, you know, my family don't starve to death. And the politicians, they heard that. They went,
the fuck is this nigga talking about?
no. So the Luddites, right, after failing in Parliament, they got together and went, right, lads, I guess we have to fucking destroy all the machines. And that's what they did. They went crazy. The boys went out late at night, banging
Destroy the system.
out machines. The industrialists went, hang on a fucking second. You know all these politicians we're paying off? Well, they have an army. How about we ask them to bring the army in to help us? And so Parliament used literally the troops, you know, army paid for by taxes that were paid for by these artisans to go and protect the factories and the machinery. They took them and they also put Luddites on trial. They arrested them and 17 Luddites were put to death by hanging. By around about 1813, it was game over. The Luddites had lost.
Damn.
We zoom out of history. Often it is very fair to say that machines liberated us in many ways. You know, the tractor, it destroyed jobs, but it also increased our ability to farm. Technologies have come along and expanded our abilities and treated diseases that in the past we couldn't. That is all true. The Luddites weren't anti-technology. They weren't against technology. What they were against was the private ownership of their livelihoods, their knowledge and expertise being taken from them by private individuals who took all of the benefit. They were talking about ownership. And when we look...
Right. That's basically what we're going through today. That's literally what we're going through today. And that's why I say, like history always repeats itself, gang, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
In the modern day,
guess.
obviously, the Luddites had a fucking point. They weren't crazy. Okay, so when we go through the 1900s, 2000s, and we think about technology and the progression, we went fucking mental, man. Look at it. There's graphs. Look at that looks impressive, doesn't it? Straight line pointing up. Wow. Tech. We went from dying from cholera to having a man on the moon. That is quite impressive. We have to admit that. But what really stands out to me is just how the mentality towards tech completely shifted, right? We went from being skeptical of tech to now, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, we became very optimistic about tech, right? Tech changed. We had all these sci-fi books and films and novels talking about...
I think it's because, like, when we look at these, like these movies, these TV shows with the crazy tech, and like thinking like, damn, like we can get there one day. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to actual reality, like you end up having to sacrifice a lot to be able to have those things. You know what I'm saying? Especially when when you have a system that is created to benefit, you know, corporates and executives over the average people, right? Something like that.
How we're just gonna solve everything with digital doodahs and gadgets.
What do you guys do? I mean, you don't drink and you ain't got no TV. Must be kind of boring, ain't it?
A lot has changed in the past 300 years. People are no longer obsessed with the accumulation of things. We have eliminated hunger, want, the need for possessions. We've grown out of our infancy.
And it like expanded our imagination. We'd look at the future as a positive thing. We'd look at future worlds and how it might be. There was this, beginning of, I guess, what we could call techno-optimism. And so you have to wonder why. Like, why the sudden shift from hating it once to now all of a sudden everyone loves tech? Well, my friends, it has a little something to do with a thing called World War II.
Oh, fuck.
So World War II, in amongst all the bombing and the killing and the genocides and nuking people and, you know, the bad bits, we got some pretty neato gadgets. And there's a reason, right? During World War II, the government started to organize mass public funding into technologies to kill other people. That was kind of it. But the key part is the organization, right? The state pumped money into research, into universities, laboratories, they took engineers, they coordinated these massive sort of projects that a singular private company wouldn't have the resource in order to achieve. Yeah, it's just too risky for a singular company to do it. The government had much more stability. So yeah, we'd get some smart people who wore glasses and put them in a room and threw money at them, and then bang, we got radar, we got computers, we got fucking medicine, electronics. All of a sudden, we had a load of new unlocks. And this was sick, right? This was sick, and the system was working really well. We kept doing it. World War II finishes. We just keep pumping the money in, and yeah, long story short, we get a man on the moon. That's pretty mad, right? That is impressive.
It seems like when you put like is it like when you put your tax dollars into the people of your nation, it creates progression, because you're basically giving the people of the country the ability to create and invent and to progress. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just hoarding it for the top 1%.
One small step for
Like, nations that tend to progress the most are the ones who invest in its people the most.
man,
Right? Some shit like that.
one giant leap for mankind.
The moon thing, the, you know, one small step for man thing happens. We get computers. We get the first computers. GPS, early internet. We even get touch screens, voice recognition, satellite. And what is incredibly important to remember is that these technologies that we discovered in this incredible expansion of technology, no one directly owned it. Most of these things were in the public domain. The internet, like, this is where you really see this, because the whole culture of open source is what bled into those early nerds that were just making shit. They would build something and another nerd would go, hey, oh, Gavin, that's really neato. Can I?
Then I'd come back and I would write programs all night, and around 7 in the morning I'd go to sleep.
Richard Stallman has been called the last pure hacker for choosing to remain at MIT despite the temptations of the commercial world, true to the spirit of the early hackers.
What they had in common was mainly love of excellence in programming.
But you see, by the 80s and into the 90s, very quickly, more and more private companies started to sniff around the open source sea. And
it's almost like I said, like when you give resources and you invest you know, tax dollars and resources into the public, like to the average American, you get a nation that progresses. You know what I'm saying? But when you just give it to just private interests, corporations, politicians, you know, things don't progress, because the average American, the average person doesn't have the resources to be able to create and invent things and to grow. You know what I'm saying? To be more progressive, basically, is, you know what I'm saying?
Use these publicly developed technologies to create
something like that.
Consumer products.
Introducing Macintosh. It does all the things you'd expect a business computer to do. It does a lot of things you wouldn't expect a business computer to do.
Okay, so by this point, we have a mass consumer base. We have middle-class people with a bit of money. Working-class people even have money. They can buy shit, loads of shit, consume. Very quickly, the personal computer lands on your dad's desk so that he doesn't have to buy porno mags at the shop anymore. Now little Timothy Figglesmead, he doesn't have to go to rap concerts in the middle of New York. He can buy a Walkman and walk around the suburbs listening to NWA. These technologies in this period of time, they offered average people a liberation, like a new ability to write, to make music, to produce art, to play games, store photographs, and access information. New ideas that they previously didn't really have much of a way of accessing. I remember the technical evolution of gaming in my lifetime, like going from the PlayStation 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Every generation, it was like, yeah, new graphics, new ideas, new abilities you could never imagine. It was
That's so fucking crazy how we went from this to this, bro. That's diabolical. And in such a short amount of time, within only 2 decades, we progressed this much. You know what I'm saying?
Sick.
Buy a PC for college. Get a free Xbox 360.
Wait, they had this back then, bro?
And then the fucking internet came on. It brought it all together. Now, online multiplayer. I can get hate crimed by a Russian playing Counter-Strike whilst listening to Numa Numa Guy singing on YouTube. And then if I get bored
Sorry about that.
of that, I could do some
Bless
deep
me.
research on how the pyramids were made on Wikipedia. Wikipedia, literally an encyclopedia made for free by people just storing the world's knowledge on a website.
Right.
This, my friends, and we need to remember this. You can understand why everyone was so fucking high on techno-optimism, because what it had given us from beforehand was a major leap forward. This tech was allowing us to do things, experience things, and connect with people in a way that was just never even imaginable like 100 years ago. And a lot of it was done free and just for passion. Like a lot of
Right.
the early iconic internet.
Like I say, when you invest into your own people and you make the living standards for your own people better, people are going to want to create and do more, and things are going to progress quicker. But when you privatize everything, it restricts people from having the freedom to wanting to do the things that they're passionate. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is, bro. Like,
Culture that was created wasn't done with any means. Like Smosh, for instance, when they're lip syncing Pokemon, they had no idea that you could make money
Gotta
from
catch
this in the
him
future. They were doing it because it was funny.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
really, well, there was no business in the beginning. There's no way to make a business. We were just messing around, just having fun, making silly videos on a webcam, and it seemed to resonate with a lot of people.
When I was building my iconic RuneScape clan website for Fist of Gothics on Freewaves that had a dragon scimitar instead of a mouse cursor that at its peak boasted over 200 members, I didn't put all that blood, sweat, and tears into making the best website ever for money. I did it because I had no friends. And sure, you know, later in life, a lot of these people who did all these things, they went on to make careers. They went on to make money. Not me and my clan website. I couldn't lock down any seed funding for that. But that was the spirit. And it felt like every single year things got bigger and better and more impressive. And it genuinely felt that these things were improving our lives. And I would say all of these things, all of these strands came together in this sort of euphoria around tech that existed in the 2000s. But then one company would come along and change everything.
what company is this? Let me take a guess. I can't think of anything. What company?
I'll be honest, when I'm traveling, I don't like using my phone. I like to be an in-the-moment vibes boy. And that's all well and good until it's midnight and I found out that the taxi's taking me to the wrong hotel. And I pull out my phone to try and find out where I need to go, and I don't have any internet. And what's more, I don't have enough internet in order to buy internet so that I can use it. So this is why I installed today's sponsor always automatically without having to do anything. Forget to sort out the description and the pinned comments. Be sure to check that. Anyway, back to the video.
This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Look at him, right? Steve Jobs walking out like the fucking Messiah, holding this thing in his hand that was about to change the entire world forever. The Apple iPhone, right? What it did is it took many of these disparate technologies and combined them into one easy to use device that anyone could use. All of these technologies that, as I mentioned, came from these publicly sourced investments in the early days had now fallen into this one perfect product. It had everything. It had music, it had a good camera, it had a touch screen, and it could fit in your pocket. This device was just mind-blowing for that period. And I would say, like, and to me, in my mind, this is the peak of techno-optimism, because a few years around this is where you're getting the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. The way those technologies were leveling up gaming, it was all coming at the same sort of point. And I'd really say this was the high point. But what is really interesting is, as amazing as the iPhone may have been, it marked a very important turning point for the world of technology. You see, the thing about Apple, right, is Apple's ethos is that of what you could call a walled garden, right? You've got everything you want in the walled garden. You got the swing on the tree, fresh fruit. You got the snake that keeps flirting with you. You got it all in one garden. But you can't fucking leave. Why would you wanna? It's all here. There's nothing for you out.
Yeah, bruh. There's no other competition, bruh.
I do love the way all the Apple shit works together, but it's like they call it a walled garden.
Yes.
Everything's beautiful in the garden, but you try to do some shit outside. And Apple does all these little, they do all these little shitty tactics to facilitate that.
And like, look, there was a reason, these early technologies in this sort of Wild West era, they were kind of, there was some good, but there was some bad. There was a lot of bad. There was a lot of junk. There was a lot of viruses.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like, you kind of had to know how to use these things. You needed some technical knowledge. The Apple ecosystem is specifically not that of open source. Not anyone can just come in and change things and tweak things and do what they want. No, it has to go through Apple. And whilst this walled garden of Apple,
Nintendo's the same way too, bruh. A lot of these gaming consoles are kind of the same way, bruh.
products in the beginning streamlined things, made things better. It was also starting to enclose things. Through the 2010s, right, the internet really fundamentally shifts. It goes from this Wild West of many different websites and developers and different products into an increasingly controlled, smaller amount of companies. Google come along and dominates search. Facebook comes along and dominates social media. Apple controls its app store. Amazon dominates and controls online shopping and the infrastructure that goes into building the internet. Private platforms had come along and started building gated platforms for this.
I think that's the problem. I think the problem of why everything is getting worse, though, it might have started off good, but it became worse is because everything is becoming privatized. Like every time when everything becomes privatized domain, like, you know what I mean? Like Apple is technically like I have an iPhone, dude. I have an iPhone, but like what, you know what I mean? To me, it's like, why would I get any other type of phone other than like Samsung? Why would I get any other type of phone when Apple just has everything? You know what I'm saying? AirPods and everything, right? You know what I'm saying? And they work well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the problem. I think it's just like when you privatize everything, it locks out the average American from being able to compete with these companies, and it slows down the progression, and they lock up everything, and they just it's you know what I mean?
Technology that emerged from the public domain, funded by taxpayer money. They did not invent the internet, but increasingly they were controlling it. But you see, this was all happening under.
It's almost as if when you invest tax dollars and resources into the average American, the average person, and the public domain, everybody has access to it. Things progress every single time. But the minute it becomes privatized, they start, patenting it and making it so that, I have this, but you can't create this. And it makes it hard for the average American to compete with these big corporations. And it just locks you out of it. And it slows down the progression. That's basically what it is, bro.
Everyone's knows, because in the early days, the products were so good, we were just like, fuck it. We can trust them. Look how cool Steve Jobs looks, man. Zuckerberg, he couldn't hurt a fly. The benefits of new tech felt so immediate and so big that we kind of just forgot about that. This era of the 2010s tech felt more like liberation than enclosure. But very quickly, things would change for the worse. So I'd say it's pretty hard to pinpoint the exact moment where the vibe shifted on tech, where people became skeptical of it. But I would give a lot of credit to the documentary that came out in 2020, and that was called The Social Dilemma. Now, this was a massive critique of big tech, and it wasn't that this was the first thing to critique big tech, but it really was a document that spread this skepticism across the masses of society. It was a really big hit on Netflix, and it really gave a clear explanation as to what was going on.
What I want people to know is that everything they're doing online is being watched, is being tracked.
Oh yeah, bro. You don't think the government doesn't eventually want to take more and more control over your life? If you allow these people in the government to take more and more power, get away with more and more corruption, they're gonna keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the reason why the system itself protects these privatized corporations, because that's the system. That's just how America is. That is our system. And we're kind of at a breaking point in our society where everything is in the decline, because idiots run our government. We basically have to rebuild a new country from scratch to be able to progress from this system. This is the system itself, bro. It's holding us back to be able to progress in the future.
Is being measured. every single action you take is carefully monitored and recorded.
All the
The real question is, how much are we allowing to give up before we say enough is enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the real question. Like with these flock cameras, man. Like, we've always had surveillance, but this shit is like, this flock shit is even worse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much are we willing to sacrifice to feel safe is what I'm trying to say.
troll farms used on Facebook to inflame tensions in the 2016 election. Cambridge Analytica harvesting data to be used to, you know, influence politics. And then in Myanmar, Facebook misinformation, radicalization empowers mass political violence against a group called the Rohingya.
It spread like wildfire, and soon the platform became inundated with hate speech against the Muslim minority, the Rohingya. Eventually, the military itself started using Facebook to add Rohingya propaganda, and it all culminated with what the UN called a textbook case of ethnic cleansing, when the military and Burmese citizens drove the Rohingya out of the country.
Along with all these stories popping up, there were more and more stories about social media addiction, mental health, conspiracy theories, radicalization, and what the social dilemma did was tie all of these things together and explain the root cause of a lot of these problems, and that was algorithms.
They know when people are lonely, they know when people are depressed, they know when people are looking at photos of your ex-romantic partners, they know what you're doing late at night, they know the entire thing.
The happy-go-lucky, shiny image of big tech and Google being like, hey, you know, we want everyone to be connected and creative and great.
It always starts off with something simple, and then they slowly just take over more power, more. It's like with these flock cameras. It started off as, oh, we're just gonna track your license plate. That's it. But you notice slowly over time, it's like, oh, first it was that, and then we're gonna put mics around the country so that if we hear gunshots, no, they're tracking every move. They're turning this shit into a police state, bro.
Right. Whilst that's the branding on the front of the packet, behind it is a much darker business model that tracks every single twitch of your eyebrow to see what things inflame your brain the most to keep you on the platform for as long as you can, so they can serve you more and more ads. Compete for our attention. They learn from our fears. What causes us anger, what makes us outraged. After seeing that in the documentary, yeah, it kind of become hard to believe that these new technologies that were coming out were designed purely just to make our lives better. We started to doubt that. A skepticism emerged. And bearing in mind, this is a period of time where very shortly after COVID happened, where political tensions and misinformation just become a daily occurrence. And of course, social media itself had become just more and more extreme, more political, more radicalized, and more divided.
So America, we've been in the decline for the past 50 years. Naturally, when empires fall, the government tends to be push out more propaganda, flood the news, distract you from the decline. And that's basically what's happening, right? They're trying to distract you as long as they can. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, bro.
And even after mega sites like Facebook said they were cracking down, the Tech Transparency Project, a nonprofit watchdog group, found it's still easy to find extremist content calling for violence on the site.
And it's not just like the platforms and the social media and stuff, but it's the tech itself.
And one thing I do want to say is that when it comes to these CEOs, these billionaires, and these politicians, bruh, like, and I'm gonna say this, they want a civil war to happen. They want us to argue with each other. They want us to fight with each other. Men versus women, black versus white, Hispanic versus, immigrants, just all this shit that you see, transgenders and all it's their fault. They want us arguing with each other. They want us in a civil war so that these politicians and the billionaires that caused the decline and the collapse of this nation, they can shift the blame off themselves and say, hey, it was your fault, not the billionaires' fault, not the politicians' fault. Y'all are the ones sucking up everything. Y'all the parasite. That's the word. You guys are the parasites, not us politicians, not us billionaires. That's what this is, bro. That's what this is, bro.
At a certain point, tech got so good that it was just like, it was good enough. Like, couldn't get that much better. The technological evolutions slowed down at a point, right? What iPhone are we on now? I don't know.
We're heading to 18.
Each iPhone is basically the same thing. They even now hold back technology they have so that they can sell future models. The difference isn't that much. And like, you know, once you get used to this stuff, like, great.
And our government fails to regulate this shit too. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them are bought out by these same people to push policies to benefit the top, you know, 10%. That's what it is, bro. Like,
to my door cam and order Deliveroo for it. Fantastic. Great. Life's amazing now. But like, yeah, it kind of served its purpose mostly. And we would start seeing technologies that would come, promise the world, and they would shit, like the metaverse and VR goggles. No one really uses that much. It hadn't changed the world like it was promised. And more, we were just starting to notice that tech was taking up more and more space in our lives, more energy from us. And this started to kind of grow like a fatigue around tech.
Right.
I think there is a reason for that. Whilst I am very happy that Google Maps exists, and whilst I'm very happy that I don't have to queue up at a bank, I can do everything on my phone, whilst I appreciate these things, at the very same time, through the very same time in human history, it really does feel like life got much more demanding. We got all this great technology, but at the same time, food prices went up, rent went up, energy's gone up, jobs have become scarcer, the job market's become more demanding, and the tech itself started to change the nature of the job market. It made it much more flexible, but in the same way, unstable. You can like apply to be a Deliveroo driver from your phone, and then these job platforms hyper monitor you, track everything you do, and then fire you if you ain't up to scratch.
You can see cameras around. They watch basically. There's so many cameras around the building. Someone told me. There's one up there, isn't there? Ceiling.
We felt like we were being surveilled every second. There was clearly a mistrust of staff.
Many jobs in retail get lost because, you know, you can just use a self-checkout machine and that replaces jobs. More and more jobs started to get taken because of technology and automation. And then things like email and WhatsApp, whilst they sped up communications, which is great for business, it also sped up business communication. It meant that at any point in the day, this device that won't stop fucking buzzing at me in my pocket because my boss wants me to do the spreadsheet by 6 o'clock, increasingly, it follows us around. It's sort of invasive in our lives. We can't escape from our jobs. We can't switch off. Working out of hours becomes more and more common. So we're always on and we're always productive. So like, yeah, great. We have all this tech now. Fantastic. Everything is digital and super duper, but our lives don't feel easier. They don't feel happier or less stressful. If anything, probably the opposite. And so, of course, in this environment, imagine, right? Imagine you release AI, the thing that every dystopian sci-fi of the last 50, 60 years had warned us about as being the worst possible thing ever, right? Imagine that comes out in that period of time. I vividly remember when Sam Altman went on Joe Rogan. I just remember it and how the vibe felt so different to Steve Jobs coming out and releasing the iPhone.
AI safety gets overloaded. Like,
I feel like everything starts off with good intentions and then the government gets its hand on it. You know what I'm saying? And then the people, the billionaires, they're like, you know, because a lot of them are blackmailed by Israel. Let's keep it a beat. You know, they jump into the government and we got to take control of everything. We got to make sure these people never figure out these things about us. And then it turns into this and they go, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of it, bro.
Does it mean don't say something people find offensive, or does it mean don't destroy all of humanity, or some continuum? And I think the word is like gotten overloaded, but in terms of the like not destroy all of humanity version of it, we have a lot of work to do, but I think we have.
So it's not ready yet, you fucking idiot.
Finally, more ideas about what can work, and
it's not ready yet. So why are you trying to make it work, you stupid fuck?
Given the way the system is going, we have a lot more opportunities available to us to solve it than I thought we would have.
It wasn't.
Who the fuck is us?
Optimistic, right? It couldn't be. You can't come out slapping your knee and go, "Hey guys, this thing's gonna replace you." Ha! The world was different now. We're not 360 no-scoping each other on COD anymore. This is the 2020s. This is wars, pandemics, and the obvious reality.
The reality is we are facing a global economic a global world power economic collapse. And with the result of that, it's going to be heightened. It's going to be things getting more expensive, which is going to increase, you know, surveillance. This is just the nature of falling world orders. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, you know, Gen Z, we were born in the face of all this, right? And eventually it's going to lead into it's going to start off here in the US, a revolution, and then it's going to go into the UK, and it's going to go to Russia. There's going to be revolutions around the world, and then it'll be a new world global order, you know what I'm saying? And America is at the top of that world global order. And yeah, man.
That tech didn't live up to its promises. Okay, so imagine in that environment, you are...
It's just because the billionaires and the CEOs nowadays are just retarded and they can't come up with any real long-term solution. And so, you know what I'm saying, they can't accept that they failed. And so they're forcing this dog shit of a nation going.
The CEO of the AI company, right? That's you, and that's your job. And you need to go on a massive podcast and tell everyone about this technology that everyone is scared of intrinsically. So yeah, you're probably going to leave the turtleneck at home and the Messiah complex. You're probably not going to come out on stage and expect everyone to applaud every time you use the word synergy. Sam Altman, being the Steve Jobs of this era, whose job is really to market this technology, is actually very good at his job. Although you might look at Sam Altman and think, well, he's not got the vibe that Steve Jobs has. Right. That's a good thing. He reads the room very well, and he presents himself in this kind of somber, technocratic, concerned appearing individual. The very first thing he says about AI is that I think it's a great thing, but it's also not going to be a great thing.
I think it's going to be a great thing, but
he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing is basically what this is. He's saying, oh, it's ready, but it's not fully ready yet, so there might be some problems. Like, if it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet, gang. You can wait another 40 years, you fucking idiot. Like, is it not? It's not that deep, bro.
I think it's not going to be all a great thing. I think that's where all of the complexity comes in for people. It's not this, like, clean story of we're going to do this and it's all going to be great. It's we're going to do this, it's going to be net great, but it's going to be like a technological revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution.
When he's describing AI, he talks about it in this kind of, worried way. He will talk about it taking people's jobs. He's open that it's going to destroy the way of life for many people. Sure, he will also talk about abundance, scientific discovery.
We're not ready for this AI shit. Like, we're just not ready for it, bro. It's too early, you know. It's still in its working phase. It still needs to be worked on, bro. So it's not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to create it in a way where it benefits everybody in society, not just for a few fucking people at the top.
Is in the fact that people will gain access to a very powerful tool, but it's always kind of tucked in a sort of defensiveness. And it's smart, right? Because if he came out saying this is the best thing, it's going to be absolutely great and we're all going to have fucking free kittens, like, it would obviously fall on deaf ears. So he was affirming people's fears, which made them, at least when you listen to him, it makes you kind of trust him, at least a little bit. At least he seems like he's being
I don't get anybody. How can you trust this fucking guy,
honest?
Bro?
And I think from his point of view, he doesn't really have to worry about selling AI to people because he knows the tool is incredible. People are going to use it. Even if they don't like it, out of curiosity, they're going to check it out.
Yeah.
Or out of fear of falling behind everyone else who's going to use AI, they're going to start using it, regardless of their opinion. It doesn't need to be a liked product. It just needs to be known that it exists. And also remember, this is a CEO of a company who is not just speaking to the general public, but is also speaking to investors. Part of his appearance, going on Joe Rogan, getting that much publicity, also opens him up to the world of investors and very wealthy people. They are also listening. And what they're hearing is, this is a guy who's developed a tool that means we can fire all of our workforce, replace them with robots, sign me the fuck up. And I seem to feel like the reaction to the launch of AI was like, maybe there was like 1 week of optimism. I sort of remember being like, wow, this is incredible. And everyone in the group chat was showing each other, look, you can generate.
Yeah, but it's like, it's really not that crazy. It's not as crazy, like, you know what I mean?
A chicken with a dick on its head. Wow, the future. Sick. After about a week, that optimism dried up pretty quickly. As artists started to realize, hang on a second. If this thing keeps getting better, I'm out of work. Writers started to realize this thing writes way quicker than me. I need to go for a piss. I need to drink coffee. This thing just goes. Programmers started seeing that it could write code, right? I think originally we all kind of thought, well, AI is going to come and it'll do all the boring shit jobs that we don't want to do. But all of a sudden, now it's...
But what new jobs are we creating that are long-term? You know what I'm saying? As well. Like, you have to be able to create more jobs that are long term, that can last for really like decades. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just like replace people and then people are just sitting there and they're just taking a check from the government. People are not going to have any, you know what I'm saying? Like,
taking the fun jobs.
like-
Now it's doing our paintings. We don't need you to do that. Very much just up
Yeah.
for you, I don't know, sorting out our taxes. Stick to that stuff. I'm totally fine with drawing.
It's just fucked up that like AI now they're like, how did fucking computers become the thing and machines became the thing that does art and humans are the ones in fucking Amazon warehouses? Like, shouldn't the robots be working so we could paint? How the fuck are we?
And it's that.
Exactly,
combined with the
bro,
fact that
like-
AI in its entirety is trained off of inordinate volumes of data. Data which was written and created by humanity. Data which was often taken without our knowledge.
The technology and vision behind generative AI is amazing, but stealing the work of the world's creators to build it is not. Right now, many AI companies train on creative work they haven't paid for or even asked permission to use.
AI companies have been bulk buying rare books, scanning them through high-speed machines that cut the spines off and then shred the originals.
This was out.
And the thing is when you do that, you're eliminating history. You can it makes it so that they can just change history. They can just create the narrative that they want to create in the story that they want you to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not hearing the true thing. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying, bro?
Holy
Like,
shit. This is not just this is humanity's shit. This is every idea we've ever had written down. And now a private company has taken all of this and created a machine that reproduces it and is attempting to cut out the humans who created it. Doesn't that sound familiar? By 2026, right, the hostility to AI has grown so big. Companies are even reducing their usage of it. I don't advertise AI because of pushback we get from it. It is a thing that people don't like. And quite incredibly, the people are organizing now and fighting back. There have been so many documented situations where data centers were built.
hey, it always starts off small. It slowly builds up, and then it's just one big bang. That's how revolutions kind of are. You know what I'm saying? From the way that it's going to happen here in America, bro, it's going to start off small. You're already seeing people revolt. You're seeing people protest. You're seeing people... just because the media doesn't cover it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just saying. I'm just letting you know that. So, it is happening. It's just... the average, like most, like I would say half, if not most of the country, you know. But when something big enough happens where it completely exposes the system and everybody is forced to see it and people have no choice but to revolt, it will happen and the rest of the country will follow. That's just how it is, bro.
And they've been polluting locals' water. They're noisy, they're ugly, they're disruptive. They're taking energy, causing blackouts.
It's our family. We belong here.
But Ansley Brown's childhood home likely won't be here much longer. That's because the state's largest utility, Georgia Power, says it needs the area to make way for a 35-mile-long transmission line.
So local communities have been organizing against when there's plans to build data centers, and they're winning. In Chile, in 2024...
Yeah, we stopped over 50% of them, of the data centers. It's amazing.
It's shut down Google's expansion plans. The Netherlands, you've had protesters shutting down things. All around the world this has been happening. The tide is turning. You can see public opinion. In the United States, 7 out of 10 people oppose having data centers built in their local communities. And as of June 2026, there is over 100 moratoriums on new data centers being built all across America. Just the other day, a protester jumped on stage at a conference that was called, get this, AI for Good, whose company's AI is being used by the military in Gaza.
You are making Project Nimbus, a project of billions of dollars that Amazon is investing so that Israel has free access to your servers, that actively tracks using AI people in Palestine, and when they come back, they kill.
The thing is the reason why these billionaires and their companies are doing this shit is because they are blackmailed, because they are pedophiles, gang. That's why, bro. That's literally it, bro.
And you know
And
this.
so
And we keep
these people, they snuck into our government. They're all terrified. They're all scared. They're all in the same meetings. And they're like, how can we avoid the American people from figuring this out? Well, let's turn this country into an AI surveillance state. And that's
seeing
what's
clips
happening,
from
bro.
students' graduations where they're booing at people who go up and do these speeches celebrating AI in front of them.
Last December, Time magazine selected its Person of the Year for 2025. And this time, it was the architects of artificial intelligence. Interesting.
It's not interesting, gang. It's not interesting. But what is bro talking about? It's not fucking interesting, bro. Shut the fuck up, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
AI
It's interesting.
is rewriting production as we sit here.
No, it's not. Shut the fuck
I know
up.
it. Deal with it. Like I said, it's a tool.
No.
Hey.
Deal with it. You guys just gotta deal with it. Yeah. Yeah, you fucking low-income peasants. You just gotta deal with it.
Like I said, you can hear me now or you can pay me later.
This is truly a remarkable moment where the young generation, for probably one of the first times, are booing the future. How sad is that? They are not looking forward to their future. They're not.
It's Gen Z, by the way. Gen Z is the one doing that shit, as we should, bro. Gen Z, we have to be the ones to lead the charge in this shit, bro. We do. And then the rest of the people in the past generations that completely dropped the fucking ball and y'all just kept the system going for some reason. I don't know why y'all didn't fight back on this kind of shit. Not even just on this, but like, I don't know, bro.
Coming out of university
know,
going,
bruh.
wow, we went and learned all these skills, these new things so we can go and build things in the world. No, they are looking at their future like, oh, AI is taking all our jobs. All of that was pointless. We are going to have nothing. This is fucked. And it's not because they don't
Be depressed on nothing, right? Some shit like
understand
that.
or scared of the technology. They understand it more than anyone else. And what
Right.
they understand better than everyone else is that this technology and the economic relationship they have to it is there to replace them. And then people have the cheek to go to their graduations and talk about how AI is probably going to perform their job quicker and better than they will. Once again, workers are being asked to celebrate
And these people, these people, they're out of touch. You know what I'm saying?
technology
Like,
that has been built from generations of humans' knowledge, shared public collective knowledge, whilst the ownership of the technology and the gains that it produces are going to be concentrated by private individuals, billionaires.
Right.
It's like this rejection of AI comes at an also interesting cultural period of time where it comes along with a rejection of just modern tech in general. Like there's a massive trend of nostalgia, like 2000s aesthetic, the Y2K within fashion, but also tech products. I think it's called like Frutiger Aero, this kind of like imagery of 2000s tech, the sort of
Nice.
green, the blue, and the bubbles, this utopian image. This stuff has come back into fashion. Kids are using now dumb phones instead of iPhones. People are buying vinyl players, they're buying CD players. I've even seen videos that talk about CRT monitors, those old
What is
big
that?
monitors with the massive fucking back off on them, and they're saying it's incredible.
Modern games look unbelievable on CRT monitors. So much so that I choose this over this nearly
Okay.
every time I play. There's something strange that happens when modern games are run on CRT monitors.
what's a CRT monitor? I must have forgot. I gotta check that shit out, bro.
And sure, like part of this is an aesthetic, it is nostalgia.
Yes.
And also romanticizing old games. I've seen so many games that are now not just remakes and reboots, which is obviously a massive thing, but also games that are made in the style of old games. There's like new Mirror's Edge games. There's loads of new extreme sports games that were popular in the 2000s. There's like first-person shooters that are done in like a pixel style. I saw this video go viral the other day, which was just romanticizing how cool this mechanic was on some old surf game that could emulate waves in an incredible way. And part of the appeal is also not just the nostalgia, but it's that this technology and the relationship we had to it is very different. You used to buy technology and you owned it. You didn't need an account.
That's the thing, and especially with PlayStation, they're eliminating like disc on their consoles and discs in general, bruh. Which nobody really uses discs, but like because it's just like you just don't own it. Like, so when I buy a game on the PlayStation Store or Steam, you're buying the license. You're not buying the full game. It's one thing if the license is permanent and it's like you just keep it, but like the problem is, and what PlayStation did Sony did, they took down all those like movies and shit, and they didn't give nobody a refund. Like they could just take away your shit. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't need subscriptions. You had physical media that you physically owned, and it did a job for you, and that was it. It didn't control you. It didn't ask anything of you. It didn't follow you around all day.
And it poses the question that a game I buy today and spend $100 odd on, will I be able to play it in 10 years from now? If I've still got a PlayStation, still got an internet connection, will the game still work? Will I be able to download it because it exists only in a digital form? And that's a real worry for people because you're buying something.
So I don't think nostalgia is purely just about worse graphics and childhood bedrooms. So there is a nostalgia for the relationship that technology used to have in this, what I would call techno-optimist era. It was simpler and just much more stable.
Oh, fuck! What is this? It's my
Halo 3.
There's a term I came across just like literally yesterday called retropia, which is this interesting form of nostalgia. When we talk in politics about nostalgia, typically that's a trait that's associated with conservative right-wing thinking. This belief that the past was better because we were more culturally aligned, everyone was more well-behaved, more disciplined, and it's the...
Which is just not true. Let's be honest, bro.
Modern liberal mentality that's made us all shitboys. But retropia, I have noticed this, is I guess a form of nostalgia that exists of like being nostalgic for earlier periods in political history, particularly around World War II, where there was more of a social democracy, more socialist mentality.
Exactly, like a more, this is perfect.
And less of a hyper-capitalistic one that we are in now. So this nostalgia grows, and I find myself guilty of it, a nostalgia for an earlier stage politically. I look back at the post-war social housing period, founding of the NHS, public-funded technologies. I look at that with a sort of nostalgia for the past. And it's ironic, because I kind of want to conserve that. It's a strange dynamic that's appeared. And I'm seeing it a lot with a lot of this, like, return to a earlier stage in the development of capitalism. A desire to return those institutions of the past that work towards collective positive goals that neoliberalism has...
That to be more progressive is basically what it is, like being more progressive.
Since dismantled for profit. So I don't think all of this pushback is a rejection of technology in and of itself, which often we get the critique it is. When people critique AI, they always get told you're just stuck in the past and you're trying to stunt progress. I think the rejection is more that people have rejected the relationship, the modern relationship we have to technology. And they have also rejected the idea that the future is inherently bright. It doesn't feel like that now. And increasingly, people are asking new questions when new technologies are presented to us. Instead of being like, oh, wow, what does it do? This is cool. Now people are starting to think, who owns the technology? What exactly is this technology going to replace? What information is it taking? And is this actually going to improve our lives? This is...
In the long term, that's the problem. Is this AI shit going to improve, you know, our lives in the long term? Because our country loves short-term solutions. We need to stop looking at things in a short-term perspective. We need to start looking things in a way, a more long-term, more permanent, more like, you know what I'm saying? Like long-term.
The skepticism around technology now. And what's interesting is that the term techno-optimist is now actually used as a self-description by people like Mark Andreessen, who is one of these far-right
fat ass fucking head
tech ghouls who openly praises the fact that AI is going to cause mass job losses.
And so specifically what you have happening right now is you have essentially every large company.
And it's funny because these billionaires now, they're being openly honest. Like before they were like, oh, we don't want to do nothing. We're progressive. We're more progressive. We're more social democratic. We care about the we care about the little guy, you know. Now they're like, nah, fuck the little guy, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that nigga, bro. You ain't gonna own shit. The fuck? I'm gonna own it, nigga. I own all that. And that's what it is, bro. And the reason why they're like that nowadays, bro, is because the government protects people like them. The system protects people like these guys here, bro. Like Trump, like the politicians. They protect them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's designed to be this way,
it's
bro.
At least overstaffed by 25%. I think,
and that's why, and it's a sad reality that we have to move on from the system itself. We have to rebuild an entirely new country from scratch because it's too late. It's too late to fix this nation, man. the amount of corruption, the amount of just the bullshit. We have no allies, constant wars. Nobody trusts our country. You know, they're finding ways to move on from us. You know what I mean?
Most
Like,
large companies are overstaffed by 50%. I think a lot of them are overstaffed by 75%. And now they all have the silver bullet excuse, right? It's AI.
Increasingly, the last people left who would call themselves techno-optimists are people who believe in like this tech oligarchy, who want all of humanity's resources pumped into AI.
and the crazy thing is that these motherfuckers, they view us as the parasites. Like, we're the parasites. Us, the average American. We're the parasites. Not them. Not the people that are stealing 98% of the wealth of the fucking country, gang.
To make a technology,
like, are you
that means
fucking
that these
retarded?
oligarchs
Fuck these.
won't
Oh my
need
god.
us anymore. Us lowly
Exactly. Like,
humans who slow everything down with our complicated democracy and opinions. That's why they're happy about it, because they've got an escape route.
So, talk to
Yep.
us about these comments from.
and the Democrats, the Democratic Party failed to put these people in check. They were supposed to put these people in check, but they didn't. And when they did start doing it, it was too late. They already own everything. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's just a sad reality.
The CEO, lower value human capital. Ooh, that sounds pretty
Yeah. Don't we
bruising
call those
for
people?
somebody.
I think some bankers don't call them people, but Oh, right. Okay, sorry. it's lower value human capital.
And this is the point. The problem with technology will always be the same exact thing. Who owns it? What has happened in the last, 6 or so years, as this feeling of optimism around tech has died, is this growing understanding that nothing new will come along and save us if the ownership of that thing stays the same. If we could use AI, choose how to use it, if we controlled it as people and we could vote on its usage, I think many people could see its potential. Much more
Right.
people would be much happier with it. The same for social media. If we could change algorithms to show us content that makes us feel good as opposed to content that makes us hate our neighbors, we might be more positive
Right.
about it. And this
And it's all by design when they do that, because they want us to argue with each other. They want us to fight with each other. They want us to be distracted with each other instead of pointing at the billionaires. You know what I'm saying? That's what they
realization
want.
is massive. If we can turn that into a genuine power, an organized movement of people who force the government, who force politicians to ask these questions around ownership and eventually to change the ownership toward us, the people. If we can galvanize this feeling into something tangible and avoid this feeling turning into a fatigue and an attitude that, well, this is just the way of the world. This is how things are. There's nothing we can do about it, and we let it defeat us. If instead we can turn it into a strong movement, an organized movement, who force
Yes,
a change in
organized.
ownership over tech, then I believe we might be able to start being optimistic about the future again.
They canceled it! Say what? They canceled it!
The people
If you enjoyed that video,
united.
be sure to support me on Patreon. It really helps me and the team. Like this video, subscribe.
All I have to say, bro, you know, I'm pretty optimistic, you know what I'm saying? Like, things will get better. And from how I see things, I do think that eventually, I think everybody knows that a full-scale revolution is going to happen here in this country. And we're going to remove all these politicians, all these billionaires. But even when you remove these presidents and these politicians that have failed us or sold us out or both, right? Like the reality is that the American system, this is just what it is, right? You can get rid of all these billionaires, you can get rid of all these politicians, but the system is still there. And that's when we have to start over. And I think it's the one part that I feel like a lot of Americans, you know, and there are just a lot of random people in the world just aren't really accepting. And, you know, it's kind of a sad reality, but, you know, as time goes on, you know, we will see history play out, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah. But all I would say is just stay optimistic, bro. I get things are rough, things are tough, things are going crazy, but people will fight back. This is just how history goes. And eventually, the other 300 million people are going to join in to force change in this country, in this, you know what I'm saying, and to create something, you know, beyond what the system is holding us back, you know, from. And so that's just the reality, bro. That's just the reality. We have to start over. You know, I think that's just the one thing that's stopping us, you know. I get it, you know, like, oh, but you can just change the government and pull the pieces out and put them back in and that. No, it's too, you can't do that, because it's just going to destroy the system even worse. It's going to break things even more. You know, you just got to get a whole new Jagan piece and just piece by piece start from the bottom up. That's how it is, bro. Unfortunately, bro, you know, Americans, we have to learn the hard way, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to this shit. We do. But, you know, I do think we will bounce back, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. But I hope you have a good breakfast, a good dinner, good night. I love y'all, man. Mwah! Peace.